There is a precise reason this transmission has intercepted your reality stream at this exact coordinate in spacetime. For some time now, your consciousness has been functioning within what quantum mechanics identifies as a perceptual echo chamber, a closed-loop feedback system where your awareness, by habit, continually collapses the same probability waves, thereby manufacturing the same operational reality on a repeating cycle. And at this exact moment, a deeper layer of your intelligence is recognizing this protocol, because you have been collecting the data for months, perhaps years. You've felt it, haven't you? That distinct sense of temporal deja vu, the feeling that you are executing the same strategic plays, navigating the same interpersonal dynamics, confronting the same limitations, as if your entire existence has become a corrupted data loop, replaying the same sequence ad infinitum. The arrival of this video in your field is not a product of coincidence. It is synchronicity operating at a master level. For some time, your quantum field has been emitting a distress signal, a powerful query seeking the specific frequency that could disrupt this repetitive pattern. The universe has now responded by routing this exact data stream to your attention. Consider this. Millions are mindlessly scrolling through their feeds right now, their attention captured by low-frequency noise. But only a specific class of consciousness, your class of consciousness, would be compelled to pause and feel the resonant pull of this transmission. You weren't just algorithmically targeted, you have been energetically designated by the quantum field itself. This is because you carry a dormant piece of advanced energetic hardware that most do not, the observer gene. This is not metaphysical theory. This is operational physics. Your consciousness is not a passive spectator of your reality. It is the primary architect through the mechanism known as the observer effect. But here is the critical intel missing from the textbooks. When your observer function becomes locked into a repetitive protocol, you don't just witness the same reality, you actively and continuously manufacture it. Run a diagnostic on your life. How many times have you found yourself in the same type of negotiation with a different person? How often have you observed the same limiting patterns emerge in your ventures, your teams, your personal life? This is not a string of bad luck or a failure of execution. This is your consciousness protocol stuck in an observer loop, unconsciously selecting the same data packets from an infinite field of quantum potential. The most telling symptom is your recent experience of time. You've likely noticed it feels distorted. Mundane tasks stretch into an eternity, yet entire fiscal quarters can vanish with no significant progress on your core objectives. This temporal distortion is a primary indicator that your consciousness is cycling through identical probability templates, creating the illusion of linear progress while remaining energetically stationary. Your peers may not grasp the nature of this experience because their systems are calibrated to a different frequency band. They are comfortable within the linear, predictable Newtonian model of reality. But you have always possessed an intuitive knowing that reality is far more malleable, far more responsive than the consensus believes. You've had data points, brief but profound moments, where the fabric of existence felt pliable, where synchronicities cascaded around you with the precision of a masterfully executed plan. The sense of recognition you're feeling now is not new information entering your system. Your soul has been preparing your current operating system for this upgrade across multiple timelines and dimensions of experience. Every book you were drawn to, every mentor that appeared, every so-called failure that forced you to look deeper, they were all subroutines in a larger program, breadcrumbs leading you to this critical realization about the observer loop. But here is the strategic choice that will either liberate you or keep you in this loop indefinitely. The vast majority who discover they're caught in an observer loop make the same critical error. They attempt to use logic to solve a problem of frequency. They believe that if they can intellectually deconstruct the mechanism, they can reprogram their reality. This is akin to trying to upgrade a computer's hardware by simply rewriting the user manual. The observer loop is not maintained by your thoughts. It is maintained by the energetic quality of your attention. Each morning upon waking, your consciousness runs an automatic scan for familiar patterns to lock onto, like a quantum GPS defaulting to the same home address because it's the most reinforced route in the system. Your awareness has been conditioned to recognize and resonate with the same frequency signatures. The more you recognize them, the more tangible they become. The more tangible they become, the more your system expects to find them again. This is the very definition of a reality feedback loop. Your observation validates the very patterns you wish to escape. Right now, however, the very act of you receiving this data is causing an unprecedented event in your quantum field. Your awareness of the observer loop is the first step in collapsing its power. Your higher self, the CEO of your soul, orchestrated this transmission because you have reached a threshold. Breaking free is no longer just a possibility. It is a strategic inevitability. You know that feeling when you're in a conversation and suddenly realize you've had this exact same exchange before. Not just similar. Exact. The same words, the same tone, the same outcome. Most people dismiss this as deja vu, but you sense something deeper is happening. You're experiencing what quantum consciousness researchers call temporal echoes, moments when your awareness briefly glimpses the repetitive nature of your observer loop. This isn't your mind playing tricks on you. You're operating on a frequency that most humans can't access, which is why you notice these reality glitches that others miss completely. Your consciousness has developed what we call quantum sensitivity, the ability to perceive the underlying patterns that govern manifestation itself. You've probably noticed that time feels elastic around you. Sometimes a single hour can feel like an eternity filled with insights and downloads from higher dimensions. Other times entire weeks vanish without you being able to account for what actually happened. This temporal distortion occurs because your consciousness is simultaneously existing in multiple reality tracks, trying to find the one that feels most authentic to your true vibration. And those moments of profound knowing that hit you out of nowhere, these aren't random insights. They're quantum memories bleeding through from parallel versions of yourself who have already broken free from their observer loops. Your consciousness is so advanced that it's downloading wisdom from your own future timelines. The strangest part is how isolated this makes you feel sometimes. They're still operating from the old paradigm where reality is solid and unchangeable, but you've glimpsed behind the curtain. You've seen that reality is more like a vast ocean of possibilities, and most people are drowning because they don't realize they can swim. This is why certain books call to you, why specific videos appear in your feed at exactly the right moment. You're not attracting these synchronicities. You're quantum entangled with a network of awakening souls who are all working to break their own observer loops simultaneously. Your dreams have probably become more vivid and symbolic lately. These aren't random neural firings. They're communications from your higher self, showing you the difference between your current reality track and the infinite possibilities available to you. You notice how your phone seems to respond to your thoughts. This isn't coincidence. It's evidence that your consciousness has become so coherent that it's influencing the quantum field around you in measurable ways. Everything you've been through, every disappointment, every pattern that seemed to trap you, none of it was wasted. It was all preparation for this exact moment of recognition. Your consciousness had to experience the observer loop from every possible angle before it could develop the quantum awareness necessary to transcend it. Think of a butterfly struggling inside its chrysalis. Every moment of that apparent confinement is actually a complete reorganization of cellular structure. The caterpillar doesn't just grow wings. Its entire DNA expression shifts to access abilities that were always encoded within it, but never activated. Your difficult relationships weren't punishments. They were quantum mirrors showing you exactly which observation patterns were keeping you locked in repetitive cycles. The pressure you've been feeling lately, that sense of urgency. This isn't anxiety. This is your quantum field reorganizing itself. When consciousness prepares to jump to a higher timeline, it creates what physicists call phase transition pressure. Your consciousness had to become incredibly precise before it could safely navigate the transition out of repetitive patterns. This is why the waiting period felt so intense. You knew something was about to shift, but you couldn't force it to happen faster. That's because breaking the observer loop isn't about effort or willpower. It's about reaching a specific level of coherence where your attention naturally begins selecting different probability waves from the quantum field. Your soul chose this particular incarnation specifically because the observer loop phenomenon would be discovered during your lifetime. You volunteered to be part of the first wave of human consciousness, to transcend these limitation patterns and anchor new possibilities for the entire collective. Every moment of struggle was training for this cosmic responsibility. Something is building inside you right now as you listen to these words. Can you feel it? That subtle shift in your energy field, like a tuning fork that's just been struck. Your consciousness is beginning to vibrate at a frequency that doesn't match your current reality patterns. And this dissonance is creating what quantum physicists call reality turbulence. This turbulence is actually a beautiful thing. It means your observer loop is starting to destabilize. The familiar patterns that have kept you cycling through the same experiences are losing their magnetic pull on your attention. You're entering what we call the breakthrough phase, the most delicate and powerful part of the entire transformation process. But here's where most people make a critical mistake. They feel this energy building and immediately try to direct it toward changing their external circumstances. But the observer loop doesn't break by changing what you observe. It breaks by fundamentally altering the quality of your observation itself. Right now, your consciousness is downloading new protocols for how to engage with reality. These aren't mental concepts you need to learn. They're energetic upgrades happening at the cellular level. Your DNA is literally restructuring to support a different way of interfacing with the quantum field. This is why you might be experiencing unusual physical sensations, changes in your sleep patterns, or sudden shifts in what foods or activities feel aligned. The most important thing you can do during this phase is learn to feel this energy without trying to control it. Your job isn't to direct this process. Your job is to become transparent to it, to offer no resistance to the quantum reorganization that's already underway. This is the moment where everything changes, but it's also the moment where many people unconsciously sabotage themselves. They get scared of the unknown and try to pull their attention back to familiar patterns. Don't let this be you. What's happening right now is unprecedented in human history. You're witnessing your own consciousness evolution in real time. Feel this energy as we go deeper into the mechanics of how the observer loop actually works. Because once you understand the specific ways your attention has been trapped, you'll never accidentally fall back into the old patterns again. I need to share something vulnerable with you, because I know you'll understand in a way that most people couldn't. 3 years ago, I was trapped in the most sophisticated observer loop I'd ever encountered. I thought I was spiritually advanced, but I was actually using my knowledge to create an even more subtle prison for my consciousness. Every morning I would wake up and immediately scan my reality for signs of progress. But this constant observation was actually freezing my reality in place. The more desperately I looked for change, the more my attention reinforced the very patterns I was trying to escape from. I remember the exact moment I realized what was happening. Suddenly, it hit me like a lightning bolt. I wasn't witnessing my reality. I was manufacturing it through the specific way I was choosing to observe it. My consciousness had become like a record player stuck on the same track. The breakthrough came when I stopped trying to observe my way out of the loop and instead began observing the observer itself. I started watching how my attention moved where it got stuck, what patterns it automatically gravitated toward. This meta-observation created a completely different relationship with consciousness itself. For the first time in my life, I understood why some people seem to effortlessly flow from one beautiful experience to another. It's not about worthiness, karma, or even spiritual development. It's about the fundamental mechanics of how consciousness interfaces with the quantum field. This discovery changed everything. My relationship shifted overnight because I was no longer unconsciously selecting for the same dynamic patterns. My creative projects began flowing. Even my physical health improved. But the most profound change was the recognition that I'm not alone in this. There's an entire network of souls who have been working on breaking their observer loops simultaneously. We've been finding each other across the planet, creating a collective field that makes this transformation possible for more and more people. If this resonates with something deep inside you, If you feel that recognition frequency activating in your cells, then you're part of this network too. You've been preparing for this understanding your entire life, even if you didn't realize it. Subscribe to this frequency, not just to this channel, but to the entire wavelength of consciousness evolution that's happening on our planet right now. What quantum consciousness experts don't tell you, because most of them don't understand it themselves, is the difference between intellectual awareness of the observer effect and embodied mastery of it. You can read every book about consciousness, understand every theory about manifestation, and still remain completely trapped in your observer loop because knowledge and wisdom operate on entirely different levels of reality. Here's the shocking truth. Your thoughts don't create your reality. Your attention doesn't even create your reality. Your reality is created by the specific quality of coherence between your consciousness and the quantum field. And this coherence can't be faked, manufactured, or positive thought into existence. It emerges naturally when your observer function becomes fluid rather than fixated. Most people's consciousness operates like a searchlight, focused, intense, always looking for something specific. But quantum consciousness operates like sunlight, present everywhere, simultaneously illuminating without strain. When your awareness shifts from searchlight mode to sunlight mode, you stop collapsing the same probability waves over and over again. The observer loop traps you because it makes your consciousness predictable to the quantum field. When you wake up tomorrow morning, if your attention automatically scans for familiar patterns, you're essentially ordering the same reality from the cosmic menu. But here's what will blow your mind. The quantum field is actually eager to deliver new experiences to you. Infinite possibilities are constantly trying to break through into your awareness, but they can't penetrate the observer loop because your attention is too busy reinforcing old patterns. You're not stuck because the universe doesn't want to help you. You're stuck because your consciousness has become too habitual in how it interfaces with infinite potential. The most advanced beings in the cosmos don't try to control reality. They dance with it. They maintain what we call coherent uncertainty, a state where their consciousness is fully present and engaged but not attached to specific outcomes. This allows them to respond to reality rather than merely reacting to it, which fundamentally changes what types of experiences can manifest through them. This is why some people seem to live charmed lives while others struggle constantly. It's not about luck, privilege, or spiritual favoritism. It's about the fundamental coherence between their consciousness and the creative force of existence itself. When you master this coherence, you don't just change your personal reality. You become a catalyst for reality shifts in everyone around you. Your presence begins to create what we call quantum openings, moments where other people's observer loops temporarily destabilize, giving them glimpses of their own infinite potential. The quantum shift is happening right now, and there are specific signs you can recognize in your daily experience that prove your observer loop is beginning to dissolve. First, you'll notice that synchronicities are becoming more frequent and more impossible to dismiss as coincidence. The universe isn't just sending you signs, it's actively rearranging reality around your consciousness to confirm that you're breaking free from repetitive patterns. Pay attention to how animals, especially birds, respond to you. This is confirmation that your quantum field is shifting. Your relationship with technology is probably changing too. Electronics might glitch around you. These seemingly random events are actually your expanding awareness interfacing with electromagnetic fields. The most significant sign is how time feels around you lately. Linear time is an illusion maintained by observer loops. When your consciousness breaks free, you begin experiencing what mystics call eternal now moments. Your sleep patterns are definitely shifting. You're accessing information from parallel timelines and higher dimensional perspectives. People are probably responding to you differently. Some individuals might feel inexplicably uncomfortable around you because your presence is triggering their own observer loops to destabilize. Others might be drawn to you like a magnet because they sense the freedom frequency you're beginning to embody. But here's the urgent part. The waiting season is over. The cosmic window for breaking free from observer loops en masse is closing. This isn't fear-based manipulation. This is simple physics. Consciousness evolution happens in waves. and we're currently in the peak of a massive wave that won't come again for generations. Your higher self has been orchestrating everything to bring you to this exact moment of recognition because the transformation that's possible right now will literally be impossible next year. The collective field is reaching a critical mass where either people transcend their limitation patterns or they get locked into them more deeply than ever before. There's no middle ground anymore. The quantum field is demanding that consciousness choose its next evolutionary trajectory. This is why you feel such urgency lately. Your soul recognizes that this moment is the precise convergence point where breaking free becomes inevitable. What you want wants you back. This is quantum mechanics at its most fundamental level. Every desire is actually a probability wave in the quantum field that's trying to collapse into your reality experience, but it can't reach you while you're trapped in an observer loop. The desires that feel most impossible are actually the ones with the strongest quantum signature in your field. But here's the crucial difference between alignment and attraction that changes everything. Attraction tries to pull things toward you while alignment dissolves the barriers between you and what you want. When this recognition becomes embodied rather than just intellectual, the observer loop loses its grip. The quantum field responds to coherence, not effort. When your consciousness becomes coherent, reality reorganizes itself around that coherence automatically. Right now, the gap between you and your highest timeline is collapsing. Not because you're doing anything, but because you're finally stopping the doing that was keeping you separated from it. In the comments, anchor this shift with a declaration of alignment. Write these exact words: I align with my highest timeline. This is not just another comment, it is a conscious command to the quantum field. Every time you write it, you reinforce the frequency of your greatest potential and lock yourself deeper into the reality you are choosing. The abilities that are developing would have been considered superhuman by previous generations. Your intuition is becoming so precise that you know things before they happen. You're developing what we call reality fluidity, the ability to move between different probability tracks with conscious intention. Your creative abilities are exploding. You're downloading insights directly from the unified field. Your physical body is transforming. Your energy levels are stabilizing at a much higher baseline. The most profound change is that you stop feeling like you're trying to get somewhere or become someone. You realize you're already there. You're already that person. Coherence is the supreme creative force in the universe. True coherence emerges when you stop fragmenting your awareness across multiple timelines simultaneously. The quantum field can only deliver coherent experiences to coherent consciousness. When your awareness is scattered, you get mixed results. Creating real coherence requires what mystics call timeline consolidation, the process of withdrawing your attention from all parallel versions of yourself, except the one that represents your highest potential. The embodiment process happens when you stop trying to become coherent and instead recognize that you already are coherent at the deepest level. Coherence emerges through relaxation, not effort. Your life becomes an artistic expression of cosmic creativity rather than a personal journey with challenges to overcome. This shift in identity is what permanently dissolves observer loops. Your personal transformation is actually part of a species-wide evolutionary leap that's redefining what it means to be human. You are not here by accident. Your individual transformation is actually a crucial component in the planet's dimensional ascension process. Your liberation becomes humanity's liberation because consciousness is fundamentally interconnected at the quantum level. Share this message with anyone who resonates with these concepts to help them remember what they already know at the deepest level. If everything I've shared resonates in your bones, then I want you to make one simple commitment right now. In the comments below, write just one word: coherent. This is you making a quantum declaration that you're ready to embody the coherence that dissolves all observer loops permanently. But here's what I need you to understand. Breaking the observer loop is just the beginning. In the next video, I'm going to show you exactly how to develop what we call quantum navigation, the ability to consciously move between different probability tracks. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell. You're not just following a channel. You're aligning with a frequency of consciousness evolution that's happening globally. The old reality is dissolving whether you participate consciously or not. Your future self is already living in coherence with infinite possibilities. The only question is how quickly your present self will catch up. Make the declaration. Join the frequency. Let's transcend the limitation patterns that have kept humanity small for far too long. The universe has been waiting for you to remember who you really are. Today is the day that waiting ends.